Ladies and gentlemen, we've had our break and we're ready to resume jury selection. We're going to move now into the portion of the jury selection process that relates to individual voir dire or individual questioning. First, the state and then the defense will ask you one-on-one individual questions relating to the topics that I've already described for you. I expect they'll also fill out some of the information that they identified during their general and collective questioning. As you well know, if you don't understand something, ask for clarification. And if you find something to be in the nature of private, please let the lawyers know, and at the appropriate time, I'll create for you as private an environment as I can for that questioning. You can proceed, Mr. Boring.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon again. Basically how this is going to go, as well as I said before, we're going to start with juror number 1 in the box here. I'm going to ask you some individual questions, and then the defense is going to ask you individual questions. Then we'll move to juror number 2, and so on and so forth. So, juror number 1, let's start with you. Okay, you're a practical nurse at Gateway. Okay, and how long have you been working in this field?
I've been with Gateway I've been a nurse for 2 years.
Okay.
Graduated July was 2 years ago. And before that, I worked at the hospital. I was a patient care tech, so about 10 years.
Okay. So 10 years total you've worked in the medical field.
Yeah.
And has that been basically the majority of your professional career, or did you do something before that field?
Before that, I did accounting and bookkeeping.
Okay.
Data entry, things of that nature.
And tell me a little bit about what Gateway does.
I work for the Gateway Unit here in Brunswick. It's an addiction and mental health facility is what we deal with mainly. We basically just get them in 1013 or they come in and we get them stabilized, and then we send them out either back to jail or we try to find them long-term assistance.
Yes, sir.
Whatever they need.
All right. So, you have supervisory duties right now. You have in the past. Tell me about that.
Well, I've been in management. I've managed for Circuit City for about 4 years. I was supervisor for them and was in charge of the front line training and hiring and firing on that end. Okay. And then I was also manager for Front Express.
All right. I believe you stated that you've known somebody who's been in the military before?
My nephew, he's in the Navy.
All right. Okay. I'm not going to expect you to name off everybody involved with the next one in the medical field. Obviously, it's you and probably everybody you work with. Anybody else in your family that works in the medical field or anything like that? Any doctors, nurses, PAs, or anything other than the people you work with on a daily basis?
I have an aunt, Kathleen Swain. She's an RN. But, and a cousin, Trinity Mara, that works in ER. But that's it.
All right. And you have, you also obviously know somebody that works in the field or has dealt with training and experience in the field of psychology, psychiatry, and counseling. Is that all through what you do for a living now or something different?
Yeah, pretty much just through Gateway.
And have you ever worked in your capacity as a nurse in dealing with issues of child abuse or anything like that?
No, sir.
Okay. Kind of moving on to technology and things of that nature. I believe you stated that in addition to using regular text messages, you use some type of applications to message via your phone, correct? And what do you like? What do you use?
Mostly just Facebook for me. I'm kind of prehistoric. Today's memes,
yes, sir.
Twitter and all that. I don't know any of that, but Facebook is primarily my go-to.
Okay. And I believe you stated that you've known somebody who has, or you've communicated with somebody online that you did not know before?
Like yard sales, the Golden Isles yard sale thing that's on Facebook.
Oh, we've heard all about it. Yeah, before today, yes, we heard all about it.
That and just stuff like that, things for sale, things of that nature.
Okay. And you said that you use Facebook, and you said you don't use a lot of the other stuff. But let me just ask you if you know of these things. YouTube?
I've heard of it and I have watched. So, you kind of go to YouTube to see this video.
Okay.
But for the most part, very selectively.
Okay. How about Instagram?
I've never used Instagram.
Okay. Craigslist?
I have Craigslist.
And what do you use that for?
Mostly, again, like when we're looking for vehicles or furniture, things of that nature. We look for pets. Pets on there.
How about Twitter? You know of it, but you don't use it.
I've never used it.
Okay. They ask about Reddit. You've never used Reddit. Okay. How about Kik? K-I-K.
I've heard of it, but I didn't know what it was.
Okay. How about Backpage? Okay. Whisper, Scout, and Snapchat.
I've heard of Snapchat, but I've never engaged.
All right. I believe you stated that you've also given an opinion online or something of that nature?
Just things that would be like on my Facebook or like things from the Humane Society or different things. Little cute little images of animals and stuff, stuff like that. You like it or love it or little inspirational type sayings, but usually just through friends on Facebook.
Yes, sir. I believe you stated that you've seen either a docudrama or a documentary or a podcast or something regarding the legal field. Tell me about that.
Well, mostly probably you had mentioned OJ, and that was something that was real big. What was it, Lacey?
Peterson?
Peterson. I remember that being.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
My mother was like fascinated with that, so I had to too. I think. I'm interested in stuff like that as I'm flipping through the channels, but I can't really recall anything specific other than the high-profile stuff.
Yes, sir. Okay, you stated that I think it's pretty obvious with your job, you've had the opportunity to take care of somebody that's been sick or disabled. I'm sure you do that on a daily basis in your job. Have you ever had to do that in a personal capacity, like a loved one or something like that?
My mom, she got double pneumonia actually about a year ago, and I had to take care of her, take some time off from work and take care of her. I've always been that kind of the caregiver, like, somebody was sick, I would gravitate towards them.
Yes, sir. So that person was coughing really bad in here earlier. Do you want to go sit by her? Not that much? Right.
I was just like, she needs a treatment.
All right. I believe you stated that you've known somebody who's been arrested before. Okay. Tell me about that.
My youngest brother, he is, you name it, he's done it.
Okay.
One of those type situations. He's pretty lost.
Okay.
Drugs.
And I was about to ask, does that evolve from drug abuse and then it's kind of spiraled from there? Okay. I know this is kind of, the charges in this case are kind of specific. Anything involving charges similar to what are charged in this case?
Oh, no.
Okay, I believe you've also given a statement to the police before?
When I was a manager for like Friendly Express stores or even Circuit City, if I had theft issues, whether it be with an employee or a customer, I would have to, of course, give statements. And with Gateway, I do affidavits a lot when people come in and they want to do an affidavit to bring someone in.
Yes, sir.
So I have to deal with that.
You also, I believe you stated you've known somebody who has met somebody they have a relationship with online, either dating, sexual, or whatever. Tell me about that.
I've got several friends that have met people online, gone on dates. I can't recall any marriages or anything like that, but it's just kind of the way of the world today.
It's like Match.com and all those things. Okay.
Yeah, it's not uncommon.
It was really funny. One of the prior panels we had, it seemed like all the younger people were in one panel and older people in one. I would fall in the older probably. And it was shocking. Like everybody knew somebody in this panel, and then the other people were almost like horrified, like what? So it's interesting to see the answers. Okay, I believe you stated you've seen or heard a public service announcement about leaving either children or animals or things like that in the car.
believe it or not, more animals than children.
Yes, sir.
And it seems like as I travel through Florida, you'd see a lot more of that, like in Florida, than you do in Georgia.
Yes, sir.
That's just my opinion, but you see, it seems like the animal stuff you see a lot more, like it's commercialized more.
Yes,
like if you were walking by a window, you break the window, you saw a dog in the back seat. I think I saw that a couple days ago.
Okay.
But very effective.
And I think you stated also, probably within your job, I just want to make sure it's what we're talking about, that you've experienced or dealt with somebody who's been in shock. Mm-hmm. Okay, and like how so?
Well, when I worked at the hospital, they would come in, through the ER and they'd be in shock, or at Gateway, it's very common because they're coming in and they're detoxing. Mm-hmm. We're on Librium detox or Clonidin detox and seizures, and it can happen really quickly.
Is that something that's obvious to you if they're in shock?
You can see symptoms of it.
Okay. There were a couple of other things you raised your hand to that we'll talk about. We're going to talk about to everybody individually. Just one other thing. When you have some free time, if you have, well, actually, I'm sorry, as I was saying earlier, attorneys are bad at estimating and saying things. So two things. Do you follow the news? Are you a big news follower? And when you do figure out, when you do watch the news, where do you get your news from? Newspaper, TV, local, national?
Usually AOL, or I do look at the newspaper. I don't have a whole lot of time to watch TV. Or word of mouth, someone will say, "Oh God, did you hear about such and such?" And then you go look for it, But I'm not really big on it.
And finally, when you do have free time, what type of hobbies do you like to do? What type of things do you like to do when you do have free time?
I love landscaping, animals. I love animals. I have a lot. That takes up a lot of my time. Aquariums, that kind of thing. That's pretty much it. I work a lot. So.
Yes, sir. All right. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Hey, good afternoon. Good afternoon. All right, I'm going to pick up where Mr. Boring left off, talking about your free time. You've mentioned animals of Humane Society several times, and I know they absolutely can take up a lot of time and energy. That's the truth. So I gave my wife a Chihuahua for her birthday, and it cost me $10 at the Humane Society, but 2 weeks later it cost me $1,500 to have a hip replaced on the dog. So, yeah, they can cost money. So, what kind of animals primarily do you have that you care
Pekingese,
for?
I love Pekingese. I have 3 Pekingese and a pug.
Okay, so you're a dog guy.
Yeah, I love dogs.
Okay. Other than caring for your animals, can you tell us what are the things you may do in your free time? I think you mentioned gardening.
But work in the yard, landscaping,
Okay. What about clubs or organizations or meetings or anything involving other people?
I used to work at the Humane Society. It's been several years back. I would go and help out some there, but I'm just a homebody these days. I've been needing to get back involved in activities because I do feel better when I do, but I'm not currently.
Your work is probably pretty stressful on occasion.
It is. You're there, 12-hour shifts, and that's if the person comes in that's supposed to come in, or someone's not being intaken when it's time for you to leave because you can't leave. So you're mentally, not so much physically, but just mentally absolutely exhausted some days. So don't go to bed.
You mentioned having dealt with people in shock, and being a nurse, that's hardly a surprise. But I want to make sure I understand what you're talking about. Are you talking about someone whose body is in physical shock? As
The
opposed
physical symptoms of shock.
Okay.
As well as, shock, believe it or not, it's different for different people depending on the incident or the occurrence. So it could be from a catatonia perspective to just more of a physical. But of course, the physical is what we've got to work with because that's going to keep them alive. You know, we have to keep them alive. So it's kind of subjective, I guess.
When you say catatonia, what do you mean by that?
Just unresponsive. But there's the physical aspect of it's always there.
Okay.
Clammy skin, the pupils, shaking.
Right. And you say it's different.
It's
different for different people.
It is.
Okay. Do you consider yourself, being in the field that you're in, do you consider yourself a details guy or more of a big picture guy?
I'm definitely more detail oriented.
Tell me why you say that.
I'm very systematic in my process, the way I do things. I try to, as a practical nurse, you oftentimes, you're a practical nurse, so you just kind of do things in that same systematic process, and you kind of keep it black and white, in a sense. And just and there's a method, like a process that you stick to, and to me that's detail oriented.
Process that has a beginning, a middle, and an end.
Exactly. And there's going to be issues at times, but for the most part, there's a process.
Okay. Are you ever? You haven't really told us exactly sort of what the day-to-day part of the work is, but are you ever in a situation where you are the first line or front line where you must do the assessment and triage and kind of make a decision about what's going on?
We have a practitioner at Gateway that does that. We as the nurses just kind of go by the doctor's orders.
Okay.
If you're in the med room, like for instance, if you're assigned to the med room that day, then you're responsible for all their medications and anything that changes, transcription, blood work, all of that. If you're out on the floor, you're just more, you do the assessments and little things like that. But in my capacity, I don't I just go by what the family, the FHP tells us to do, basically.
Nonetheless, you have to pay attention to detail in doing what you do.
Oh yeah, I mean, this is life and death. You can't, you have to know that if I give this medication and this blood pressure's below a certain level or above a certain level, then I could cause a stroke. So I guess you do have a lot of autonomy there because you have to catch it. You have to catch it then before it's administered and then question it. So, yeah, that's a really good deal.
Okay, thank you. Real quick to kind of circle back to the technology, and social media that you were being asked about. Facebook is kind of your primary social media, basically your only social media. And you indicate you do some posting, meaning you from your Facebook page or whatever, you may put an article, a link to an article into Facebook, or you may upload an image to Facebook.
Yeah.
You do that occasionally?
Usually it's something that's in my feed that I like an inspirational saying, and I'll share it with other people.
Okay.
I don't really upload stuff and put it on mine. That's just my. I don't
just
put my
forwarding
name
something.
live, little pictures.
Right.
And today at work I had to talk about it. That's not my process.
Yeah.
But,
those friends will drive you crazy, won't they? Yeah. Tacos are good, but I don't need to know every time you eat one. Yeah.
But it's mostly just liking or sharing.
Right.
I don't put my personal business on Facebook.
Okay. A lot of people do, however, post, in addition to images of family and their pets or whatever, they post articles or they post stories or sometimes they post videos. Do you ever get those? Do you ever get those into your feed? and then follow the follow the link to the source to read an article?
Yeah.
Okay.
Were your parents in the military, or was it just you immigrated to the United States after being born? Okay. And how long have you been in the United States?
13 years.
Okay. So you're a United States citizen, correct? Okay. And how long have you actually been out of high school?
This year. I graduated this year.
This spring?
Yes, sir.
Well, the world's wide open. What do you want to be when you grow up? No idea yet. I agree. I changed majors a ton of times, and I'm doing nothing related to what my major was. So, yeah, just keep an open mind. All right. So, when you moved from France, did you move to Glenn County?
Yeah.
Okay. So you've been here since. Now, you stated you've known somebody who's in the military.
Yes.
Tell me about that.
My grandfather was in the Navy.
Okay.
My great grandfather too.
All right. Now, you've answered, I think you started raising your hand finally when we got to technology and familiarity. So you stated that you use messaging on your phone with something other than just plain old texting.
Yeah.
Okay, tell me what type of apps you use.
Snapchat. To message or just social media generally?
Well, let's just start with messaging right now, then we'll talk about social media.
Snapchat. That's about it. Instagram sometimes. Twitter almost never.
Okay.
Facebook, I don't use that anymore.
So I guess some of those social media things you can actually message back and forth.
Yeah.
Right, okay. All right. Now, in that vein, I guess you stated that you talked to somebody online that you've never met before. Okay, and tell me in what context.
I had a French class in high school. In that we had pen pals.
Okay.
So I wrote to pen pal in France back and forth every week.
And that was on a computer, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not when I had Facebook.
Right. It may be hard to believe, but we used to have our pen pals. We'd have to handwrite it out on a piece of paper and mail it. That's like unheard of now, I guess.
It's more like a keyboard pal now.
Okay. All right. You've actually posted an opinion or given an opinion online before?
Yeah, commenting on pictures.
Like on Facebook or other social media types?
Instagram.
Okay, you heard me talking about those different types of social media with juror number one. Let me go through that again. Like Facebook, you've used it before, you're familiar with it, but you don't use it anymore. Okay. How about YouTube? And what do you use YouTube for?
Videos.
Like music videos, how-to videos, or everything?
Music videos. I usually listen to my music on YouTube.
Okay. It's free.
Yeah.
All right, you said you use Instagram. Okay, how about Craigslist?
I've never used it, but I've been on it.
Twitter?
Yeah, I use that.
And do you post stuff on Twitter, or do you just follow people, or kind of both?
I'm just looking at funny pictures, funny videos.
Okay, and how about Reddit?
I know what Reddit is. I've been on it a couple times, but that's about it.
Kick, K-I-K? Okay, how do you know that?
Well, before all those direct message things, Kick was like the app where instead, if you didn't have iMessage, you just download Kick on an iPod or something.
Was that something a lot of teenagers did, like when you were younger?
I never did it,
But a lot of other teenagers did that?
I guess.
Okay.
It was big.
All right. Backpage, Whisper, Scout, and you told me about Snapchat. I believe you stated that you watched, or you either watch or have had some, like to follow legal television shows.
Yeah.
Tell me about that. Like, which ones are you fan of, or that you like the most?
Law and Order, I've watched, not really court shows, but criminal shows, like Criminal Minds, Bones,
Okay. Bones, they do some pretty amazing things on there, right?
Yeah.
Do you understand? Okay, everybody here, we understand. It's fiction, right? Yeah. Are you going to expect us to do all of the stuff that they do on Bones?
No, I don't expect to see too many dead bodies.
All right. Yeah, I remember one episode where they're like a corn maze, and it's just...
It's all about skeletons.
Yeah. All right. You also watch or you follow legal documentaries or docudramas, or you listen to podcasts. Any of those that I named, or any different ones that you followed in particular?
I've watched Making of a Murder or something. I've watched documentaries on back when I took forensic science in high school. I watched a lot of documentaries on Ted Bundy and Jeffrey Dahmer, a lot of serial killers.
All right. And Making a Murder, did you get through the whole season?
I watched the first episode.
The first episode?
Yeah.
Did you lose interest after that? Okay. And was this something where, did you ever go do any independent research to verify whether the way they were portraying it was accurate or not? Or have you ever read anything about that?
I've done my research with some serial killers, like back when I was forensic or medical projects on it. So, I've dabbled in it,
Okay. Did you have any? You've only watched one episode, so do you have any particular opinion of how how that show, if it had an agenda or not?
I can't really recall what the first episode was about.
Okay. All right. I believe you said that you volunteered with kids before.
Yeah.
Okay. Tell me about that.
I had a girlfriend that worked at a daycare church on the island, and I'd go there every Sunday and help out. My aunt had a newborn a few years ago, and I helped out with that.
I believe you've also worked in a paid capacity with kids.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. I think you've also cared for somebody who's either been sick or disabled or something of that nature.
My dad, he had surgery a few years ago, and I helped him do that.
Okay. All right. Now, you said you had a bad experience with law enforcement. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, that was my question, whether it was like the officer that was bad, or for me it was just bad.
Okay.
It wasn't the officer, it was me. I got a speeding ticket and I wasn't too pleased about it. So.
Do you believe you were treated fairly by the police?
Yeah.
Were you afraid you were going to get in trouble with your parents?
My parents, actually, I never told my parents because I paid for the ticket. That's when I had a job. So I paid for the ticket, and they didn't know about it until actually like a few weeks ago.
Okay. So I would advise you not to tell your parents your juror number. Okay. So then they can't identify you. All right. I believe you said you've known somebody who's been arrested before?
Yeah, friends.
Okay. And just generally, what types of crimes?
DUIs. Yeah, that's it. DUIs.
Yeah, I think it's probably when we ask these questions, almost that seems to be the general. Almost everybody, that's what their answer is. Something related to that. Yes, sir. It's not just a teenager thing. Trust me. This is something a lot of people deal with. So, let's see. You've also given a statement to the police before?
Yeah, I've gotten my bike stolen twice.
And were you ever riding the bike at the time it was stolen? Like you got robbed or anything like that?
It was during the day and overnight.
Okay. I believe you stated you've known somebody, I mean, you're younger too, so people that have dated online or met somebody that they've become involved with online.
Right.
And you've never taken a child to daycare in a car, correct?
No.
Well, you've got some other questions about kids in cars and things like that we're going to take up in private. So let me, I guess, just close out about what do you like to do in your free time? What are your hobbies and such?
I like running, playing soccer, and hanging out with friends.
All right, thank you, sir.
Hey, I did not catch why your family moved over here from France. Could you tell us about that?
My dad had a job offering to move here.
Just moved for work. 13 years ago, then you were still in elementary school at the time, right?
I was just started. When I came here, I was in the first grade.
Okay. Did you know English when you came?
Yeah.
Did not?
We weren't supposed to stay. We were supposed to be there for like a few months, maybe a year, and then
Really?
go back. Yeah, but yes, they liked it here.
Okay. You go back and visit any?
Yeah, I'll go. I used to go every other year, but I haven't gone now in like 3 or 4 years.
Okay. When you go back, it's to see family or you keep up with your friends over there?
No, I lost all my friends when I moved here. Family still lives up there.
Okay. All right. So if I understand the technology that you, or the sort of online presence that you have, it sounds like it's primarily Instagram.
Snapchat.
Snapchat? Okay.
Instagram is just for when I'm bored, I'll just look at people's pictures. I don't socialize on Instagram.
Okay. But you socialize on Snapchat?
Yeah.
All right. Does Snapchat allow messaging, private messaging between two people? It does. Okay. Is that what you primarily use it for? All right. Can you upload images like you can on Instagram?
Yeah, but the thing with Snapchat is they only last 24 hours. You can either choose to send a picture out on your story, just like so everyone can see it, or just the specific people. And once they see the picture, it's gone.
How often during the day do you check your Snapchat app?
Every time I get a notification.
Okay. And how often do you yourself load something or send something?
Send something to someone specific. It's every day, but it's just chat. But if I'm putting something for everyone else to see, almost never.
Okay. All right. Mr. Bourne asked you about sort of what you did in your free time. So I want you to think real hard, and including clubs and activities when you were still in school. What if we wanted to know about you? Tell us about the organizations, clubs, teams, sports, the things you participate in.
Play soccer for GA, cross country. I was in the foreign language club.
And you just finished this past May, just a couple of months ago.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you have any plans to leave the island and go away to school?
Yeah, I'm taking my core classes at Coastal.
Okay.
And then transfer out somewhere.
All right, so are you still living at home with mom and dad right now? Okay. All right, so you heard what I asked the juror next to you, whether or not he was a detail-oriented person or kind of a big-picture person. How would you classify yourself?
I guess it depends. Sometimes I like to look at the details. Sometimes I don't.
Okay. Got any examples that come to mind?
School-wise, I look at details. Chores at home, I I don't.
It's good. That's good. It's a good example. The chores is just sort of the big pictures, just get it done
Yeah.
as quickly as possible.
Efficient. As possible.
But at school, you're more detail-oriented in that you have to take your time,
Yeah.
pay attention, look at everything. Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
All right, so I caught part of what you were talking about reading up on serial killers. I'm not really sure that I understood what the context was there. Was that for some kind of class that you were taking?
Forensic science.
Forensic science? Okay. Do you have some particular interest in that outside of school? Meaning, is that something you want to study in college or have a career in?
Fascinating, but I just look at it more of a hobby than what I do.
You watch any of those forensic TV shows?
Yeah.
The true crime type, like Forensic Files. Don't watch any of those? See, you indicated you watched some of the fiction shows like Law and Order, Criminal Minds, and Bones. All right. You don't watch any of the legal talk shows, do you? About Reddit, you indicated you were familiar with Reddit. You ever used it to access an article or a video or a story, post, anything?
Yes, so maybe.
You just don't have any specific recollection? When you mentioned researching or investigating penalties in Georgia, was that in the context of the class that you were talking about, the forensic class? I believe that you were asked if you had either Googled or researched or investigated penalties of Georgia for certain criminal offenses. Did you mention that? You did not mention that? Okay. I just had it written down incorrectly. Okay. That's all I've got. Thank you.
All right, juror number 3. Sir. See how this goes, so you kind of know the drill. Maybe you're probably going to know where I'm heading before I head there. Okay, so starting out, you do private caretaking for elderly at this point, correct? Okay, and how long have you worked in that field?
Private care, I've been 2 years, and pretty much the elderly, maybe 10, 15 years.
And before that, what did you do in working with the elderly?
Okay. Also, I was part of the military. I've been in the military for
Okay.
10 years. And before that, in Lincoln, Nebraska, owned and operated a daycare center for like 12 years.
Okay, so military, then operated a daycare center.
Yeah.
Then you
And
did.
back in the military.
Okay.
Whatever, so.
Okay. I'll go ahead and jump to that. Then what branch of the military were you in?
Army.
Okay. Thank you for your service. And was that both times you were in the Army?
Right.
Both, yeah, before and after.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. And you have 2 boys, 19 and 20.
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, I believe you stated that you know a criminal defense attorney or somebody who has practiced criminal defense before.
Yeah, my boss, the attorney.
Okay.
I guess he talks about criminal, and I think he's a political attorney.
Okay. What's his name?
James Abley.
I'm sorry.
Abley?
Abley.
Yeah.
I ask these questions like I know who's going to be. We're not from here anyway, but all right. James Abley. All right. And you've obviously had a long career, different types of things. At some point, you had the opportunity or duty to supervise others and to hire and fire.
Right. Child care center.
Okay. And I guess what's the biggest number of employees you've actually had to supervise before?
3.
All right. And when you were in the military, did you have any particular specialty?
Just whatever they need.
Yes, sir. Okay. I believe you stated you've known somebody who's had legal training or something in the legal field before. Is that anybody other than Mr. Abley?
And then I got friends in the military.
Okay. They've had some type of legal training and things of that nature. You've also, people who work in the medical field or medical fields.
I worked at Nurse's Edge for the private care, so there's a lot of nurses and RNs, CNAs there.
And as far as psychology, psychiatry, and counseling, you know some people who've worked in that field before?
Right, I'm also going to school for psychology.
You've gone to school for psychology?
Right.
Okay.
Military training.
All right. You're not going to psychoanalyze us, are you?
Right.
Okay. I don't think you want to get in our heads. Okay, how about criminology?
I'm sure that's part of Jim Abley.
I believe you stated you attend a church or a religious institution. Okay, where do you go?
St. Simon's Community Church.
Okay. Now, moving on to some of the technology stuff and social media, things of that nature, you communicate or have communicated via messaging other than texting before, correct?
Right.
Okay, what type of apps have you used?
I use Facebook, and then that's pretty much it. And then for school, they allow us, they force me to use like sign up for Instagram and Twitter.
Okay. Kind of on that note, I'm going to read off this list of social media type things and see if you've heard of them and how you've heard of them. YouTube, I think everybody's heard of that. Do you use it regularly?
I use it for music and then go-to things, how-to.
Okay. All right. How about Craigslist?
I purchased a vehicle for myself.
Okay. Twitter, you already told us. How about Reddit?
Never heard of it.
Kik, K-I-K.
I've heard of it through the teenagers.
Okay. Through your sons?
Yeah, I don't even know what that means.
Okay. And was this recently or something when they were younger, if you remember?
Maybe a year or 2 ago. I'm not sure.
All right. How about, have you ever heard of Backpage? Okay. And just the court reporter is taking it down. So. All right. Whisper, Scout, and Snapchat.
I have it on my phone.
Okay. Yeah, it really is getting annoying now because when you have kids that are younger, my 9-year-old wants to constantly get on the thing and make stupid faces and send them, and it's just, anyway.
It's kind of nice because my son set it up for me. They're friends, so when they do stupid things, I get to find out.
Oh, great. Okay, well, that worked out well.
Yeah, that's great.
Well, yeah, I'm kind of, now it's annoying to me when my son does all that consistently, and I'm afraid of what he's going to do when he gets older, so. All right. Okay, you stated that you've engaged in conversation online with somebody you've never met before.
Right.
Okay, tell me.
I was part-time, I do a networking business.
Okay.
And we got this program to where they're expanding out to Singapore and Malaysia.
Yes, sir.
So basically what I do is I contact people in Singapore and Malaysia every day.
And what is that? What is the networking for? Like the stuff that you do?
Product business and just they're expanding to the city.
Okay. Also, as far as legal TV shows, like fictional, non-fictional, things like that, do you watch that type of stuff?
Yeah, I watch the IT channel. CSI, the original.
All right. Okay, and how about any legal documentaries or docudramas or podcasts?
This is all OJ Simpson thing. Whatever the IT channel. Maybe sometimes forensic science. Files.
Forensic files? Or,
Yeah.
Now, you stated, I think, that you followed a criminal case before, like either in the media, in courtroom, or just in the news.
Just the news. And my boss, his sister tried to kill him.
Wow.
So, yeah, so I followed that. He kind of told me stuff.
Was that here?
Yeah, he reversed it.
Okay. How long ago was that?
A couple of years ago.
Okay. Do you know if it's resolved? Is it over?
Yeah, she spent 15 months in jail. Not getting happy.
Okay. You volunteered with kids before?
Yes, sir. What daycare? Worked the daycare. Got paid for that. And then when my boys were growing up, sports, coaching for football and wrestling, and Boy Scouts.
You said that you've had the opportunity to care for people who may be sick or disabled other than children. Is that what you're talking about, just with everything that we've already discussed, or something different?
Right, that, and then also my son, he got in a car accident, so very for him.
Now, you've had a good experience with law enforcement before?
Yeah, I was in Florida speeding, getting all the, I guess there was a lot of mosquitoes in my car, so I decided to speed, try to get them out. I got pulled over.
It's novel.
Yeah, and so I was married at the time, and he told me if I would buy my wife a nice dinner, he would let me go. So I paid for the ticket instead. No, I'm just kidding. So he let us go.
All right.
And I bought her a dinner.
All right. Now, did he tell you to go to a specific place for dinner, and did he know any family members that worked there? Just kidding. Right. Okay, I believe you stated you know somebody who's been arrested before?
Military DUIs, wrestling. Some kids that graduated through wrestling. Ones have kind of been arrested for drugs.
Okay. I believe you said you've known somebody who's been court-martialed before, or been subject to proceedings or something?
In the military.
Okay. And were those people who were in the military too?
Right.
With you? I believe you've given a statement to law enforcement before. Like either.
Yeah. For some reason, people like to rob me. I was robbed 6 times since I came to Brunswick.
And how long have you been in Brunswick?
Maybe, let's see, so about 7 to 8 years.
Okay. All right. Sorry to hear that. And when you robbed, are these all like robbed? Like some people use robbed, and
My car's been robbed. My apartment's been
okay. Have you been present physically when any of these happen? Like held up at gunpoint or like?
No.
Okay.
I wish I was.
Yeah. Were the perpetrators on any of these occasions caught?
Not that I'm aware.
Okay. All right. I believe you stated that you've had to report a suspicion of child abuse before.
Right, with my child care.
Yes, sir. Okay.
We have a child that will do some stuff, like just do some bad stuff, like kill him for him and figure out his problems. And then went to his mom didn't pick him up, so we went to his house and there's no food, but nice TVs, and took us a day to find out where she was, so
I believe you've known somebody who's dealt with a sudden passing of a child.
right in the military. I know the worst one was just we get together and somebody's mom got a phone call while she as part of the shock. She just got a call that her son was back here.
And if you remember, how old was her son at the time that you got that call?
He wasn't in the military, so
Yeah.
teenager.
Okay.
He was during a car accident.
believe you stated you've known a homicide victim as well.
Right. I don't know if Jeremy Avery counted.
Okay.
Because that's and then in the child care business, we had this guy. It was a father. He was abusive to his wife and kid, and he was a drug dealer. So we knew him, and he got shot and killed in his driveway for bad drugs.
You've known somebody who's done online dating before, or met somebody, been in a relationship with somebody they've met online before?
Yeah, through work, have all these nurses come talking about dating these guys.
Let's see, and you've been through divorce before?
Right.
And yours was contested?
Right.
Okay. All right. I think we'll have to take a couple of issues up. Obviously, with everybody, we have to take a couple up individually. But before that, if you have free time, hobbies, what do you like to do?
Basically, work out, run, lift weights. All the time I have to do.
All right. Thank you, sir.
If I understand correctly, you're a private caretaker.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and currently you care for one family or one individual.
Yes, sir.
All right.
The father passed away in June. The house got taken care of, but he keeps me on the payroll.
Okay.
To do other things for him. So,
All right. You're not living on their property.
no, sir.
Okay. Right. But you also told us that you had worked in daycare settings.
Yes, sir.
Tell us when you did that.
I guess that would be about 2000. Well, I started around 2001.
Okay.
And then my wife at the time started it maybe 1996.
All right. How long did you do that kind of work?
About 12 years.
All right. So to make sure I understand, did you work for a company?
We created it ourselves.
Okay. You owned a business that was a child care business.
Right.
And was that here in the islands?
No, sir. It's in Lincoln, Nebraska.
Lincoln, Nebraska. How did you decide to get out of that business?
Well, we decided to move up here.
All right. Did you have to have any sort of licensure through the state in order to open that kind of business?
Yes, sir.
All right. Did you have to undergo certain training to provide those kind of services?
The state gave us training to go through.
Okay. You had to go
Classes and stuff like that.
Okay. You had to go to classes. All right. Do you ever remember? Did any of your did you have a van or a bus or any
Right. We had a 15-passenger van.
15-passenger van? All right. As part of your training or the classes that you took, were you ever trained on mechanisms to double check your van or your vehicles to make sure that you had not left a child in there?
Yes, sir.
That was part of the curriculum? And did you incorporate that into what you did daily if you were ever transporting children?
All the time.
Okay. What would you do?
Head count.
Make sure you had everybody.
Right.
Make sure you
That
had
list, and then everybody got their name.
believe that you told us your children are 19 and 20.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So at the time that you were working at the daycare, they would have been elementary school age, perhaps?
Right.
All right.
Very young. That's one of the reasons. So mom's got to stay home.
Right.
Instead of paying for child care.
Did you, the things that you learned in being trained through the state of Nebraska to get that licensure to open that daycare center, did you incorporate any of that into your own parenting?
Yes, sir.
Right. Did you incorporate the part about looking in the back of your vehicle, double checking to make sure that you got your own children out of your personal vehicles?
Absolutely.
It was just something you did.
Absolutely.
It was a habit, part of your routine.
Yes, sir.
All right. So I take it you didn't have to do anything intentional like leave a shoe in the back or a phone or anything like that, because for you were trained to do it and it was already a habit.
Yes, sir. There's a child in the car.
Right. Yeah, somebody else had mentioned the ID channel. I think my TV has that at home. I've never watched it. What kind of shows are on there?
Deadly Women.
Deadly Women?
Yeah, that's my favorite.
Okay.
My boys keep telling me to stop watching that. That's just whatever's on. I usually like Deadly Women.
Okay. I'm debating here, do I follow up with that or not? I'm assuming that's a show about women who kill.
Right.
All right. Let's see. All right. And same question that I asked the other gentleman. Big picture guy or detail guy?
Big picture.
Why do you say that?
I usually see a big picture of something and then find out the details to work that project.
Find out the details what?
To work that project.
Do you have an example that comes to mind?
Just recently, had this lady that wants to do a transportation business for the elderly. And I said, all right, so that was the big picture. And basically what I did is work the details to see, to get that going. So maybe in May or something like that, we're going to work that out.
See, you didn't answer too many questions that I asked. Let's see, I need to follow up on any of them. You indicated that you had, in fact, done research on car seats before y'all purchased when your children were younger?
Yes, sir, my wife did.
Okay. Internet?
Yes, internet catalogs.
I remember back in the day, do we even really have catalogs anymore? I can remember as a kid, at Christmas time, we get these big old thick catalogs, you know. The Sears catalog or whatever. I remember we'd spend, a month looking over that thing. And kids miss out on all that now. Yeah. I never did get that Rock'em Sock'em Robots. All right. A couple other things there you answered yes. You said at least one of your children fell asleep pretty easily being put in the car seat.
Pretty much not my children, but just with child care. There's some of the children that I just know that someone fell asleep.
It's not uncommon.
Correct.
You mentioned that you or your spouse had to hire an attorney. Is that something you can tell us about?
That was for the divorce.
Okay. And I don't recall, did you indicate that yours was a contested divorce or not?
Yes, sir, it was.
Did you have to have a trial?
Not really. It was a little more in the mediation room.
Okay.
So
It was contested.
for child custody, so
All right. You let basically the lawyers work it out, and y'all didn't have to go before the judge. And
we just went through like the judge maybe twice.
Okay.
At the beginning, we went in front of the judge.
would you classify that or categorize that experience as, one that y'all tried to work together to get it worked out and just couldn't?
Yeah, she didn't want it, so I actually wanted to investigate my 2 boys. So.
Okay, so you filed.
Right.
Okay. You also raised your hand that you knew someone, family, friend, or coworker who had an affair. Is that something you can tell us about?
My ex-wife, that's
Okay.
one. And then being in the military, it's the double time.
All right, and you answered that you had dealt with people who appeared to be in shock as a result of a sudden trauma. Was that in your capacity as a private caregiver?
That was a get together for the military, and we just got a call from her.
Got it. How long ago was that, by the way?
That would have been in 2008.
Do you know her well?
Just a friend, not really well. She just got called to life straight in front of us.
Let's see, I think. Yeah, we got to talk to you about something else in private, but that's all I have now. Thank you.
Good afternoon. All right, Juror 4, you are a registered nurse, correct?
Right.
Okay, and how long have you worked as a registered nurse?
36 years.
So I assume that's probably the entirety of your professional career, correct?
Correct.
All right. And your spouse works for, okay, what do you call it, the acronym? Flexi, okay. Yeah, I think most of the people who know the place and actually have people involved there call it Flexi, but it seems like other people in the community call it Fleet Tech as well. Do you hear that? Okay. You said that sounds like the official is Flexi, okay. All right. Let's see. And your husband, I assume before he went to Flexi, was he in law enforcement and things of that nature?
He was, well, his degree is in business, but through the years he ended up, his job for that was assistant director of victims assistance here
Okay.
in this court system.
Okay. And how long ago when did he leave that job?
5 years ago.
Okay. I believe you stated that you know the criminal defense attorney or attorneys.
Well, from the DA's office here.
Okay.
And then the ones that were here then are no longer in that capacity here, and now they practice on their own.
Okay. All right. So I guess under a previous district attorney's administration and things like that.
Exactly.
Yes, ma'am. Okay. All right. So when you said you know people in the court system, it's from that same type of thing.
Right. And then Judge Stephen Kelly's a friend of ours.
Okay. As you probably figured out by now, none of those people, none of the Glenn County people are really involved in this case. So anything about those relationships that would affect your ability to be fair and impartial to both sides. All right, thank you. Okay, you've had the opportunity to supervise people in the past? And now? Okay. And about how many people, what's the most you've supervised and how many do you supervise now?
Well, I was a nurse manager for 18 years.
Okay.
And I had up to 70 during that time. And now I'm a director over 9 different areas. And I have other managers under me. So it's less than 10 direct. But if you looked at the whole picture,
Breaking it down like that.
it's probably a couple hundred.
Okay. When you say 9 different areas, do you mean different areas of
The hospital.
Okay. And it's one general hospital?
Actually, we have another hospital in Camden.
Okay, because the Southeast Georgia Health System, I didn't know the different hospitals. Okay.
Right.
All right. And you currently have the ability to hire and fire? All right. Now, aside from your husband's, I guess, involvement in law enforcement, do you know anybody else in law enforcement? I would imagine from his job and things of that nature. Know a ton of people. And also, you said that you've known somebody that's had legal training or people that are familiar with the legal field. Are those the people you've already talked about or somebody different?
Same thing.
I hesitate to even ask who you know in the medical field. I guess probably everybody you see on a daily basis.
A lot.
Okay. Do you have any family members that are also working in the medical field, as a nurse, PA, doctor, things like that?
I do. I have cousins that are nurses out in Texas. I have a cousin that is a physician in Las Vegas.
I can only imagine what that person sees. Does that family member work in the ER?
He's OB/GYN.
Okay. All right. I'll move on. All right. So you also know people that are in the, I guess, the IT field, computers, technology, things like that?
Through work.
Yeah, I guess the computer guy comes in and helps when you can't figure things out. They tell you just hit the, like they with me, they just tell you restart your computer.
That's right.
And then usually it works. And they always ask me this personally, did you restart your computer? You'd think I'd catch on, but then I'm like, oh no, I didn't think of that. Okay. You have been on a jury before, or a grand jury, correct?
I've been on grand jury.
Grand jury, okay.
And then I've had jury selection, but I haven't been chosen.
Okay. So grand jury, how long ago was that?
It's been within the last 10 years.
Okay. And then with jury selection, you come in for like this process, but you didn't actually make the 12 to hear the actual trial, correct? Is that what I'm hearing?
Right. Actually, I probably would have. We had plans since I was dismissed.
Okay. Now you have been, or you belong to a church or attend a religious organization or institution here? Okay, which organization is that?
St. Simon's Community Church.
And you have had a job in the past that in a paying capacity that works with kids. Is that as a nurse?
As a nurse, I've had pediatric patients that I've looked after.
Now, you've also cared for somebody who's been sick or disabled. Is that also in your job or something different?
Both of my parents.
I believe you stated that you have family in Cobb County. Okay. So I know people have said, well, we don't know what part it is. What part of Cobb County?
Smyrna.
That is Cobb County. All right. And do you visit them very often, or you just know they live there? They probably would rather take the opportunity to come visit here rather than going up there, right?
When they can get off.
Right.
It's been a couple of years since we've seen each other.
Okay. All right. I really don't have much else. What do you like to do in your spare time if you have any?
I don't have a lot of time, but working in the yard is going to the beach.
Okay. All right. Thank you, ma'am.
I grew up in Smyrna. Who do you know in Smyrna?
Carol and Ted Schlitz, like the beer.
Like the beer. Okay. Do you ever stay with them when you go there?
I have not stayed with them probably since my son son was playing a ball tournament when he was in high school, so it's probably been 8 years ago.
Okay. Do you travel, or have you traveled to that area very often, the 285, 75 area around Smyrna?
I had an aunt that passed away about a year ago, so we went up there. That's when I've been there.
Okay.
Oh, I will say one thing. My daughter's boyfriend went to Southern Polytech and just graduated.
Okay.
About Kennesaw this past year and met his graduation.
Okay. So you have, it's fair to say, some familiarity with the general area and sort of the main thoroughfares or highways that run through that area.
Right. I used to live there. I lived there for 3 years.
I'm not
In
sure.
Atlanta, not in
Okay. I was going to say, I'm not sure how I missed that. What area did you live in?
Gwinnett County.
Okay.
30 years ago.
You indicated that your husband served as Assistant Director of Victim Assistance. Did I get that right? Okay, and that was for the DA's office in Glenn County. And what years did he serve?
Well, he was there. He hadn't been there. He left 5 years ago, and he was there for 9 years.
Was there how long?
He was there for 9 years.
9 years.
He left 5 years ago, so whatever
Okay.
that would be.
And can you tell us kind of what he did in that role?
Well, we always made an agreement when we got married that we did not bring our work home.
Really? Okay.
And we kept that. Now, I can assume that some of the things that he would do would be to assist victims of crime, and there were children sometimes that were involved.
Okay. Well, what about
He would be
families?
within the courtroom.
All right. Or the families, the extended families sometimes? All right. And he left that job to go to Flea Tech or Flexi. All right. And was he, the whole time he was there, he was working for Stephen Kelly?
That's correct.
So that's how, I mean, that's basically how y'all know
Well,
Judge
no,
Kelly.
he knew him beforehand. They were in the exchange club, I think, it was together.
Okay. So they would be personal friends
They
then?
were personal friends before.
Do you think that there would, you would feel any pressure with your husband having worked at the DA's office here? Do you think that you would feel any pressure to return a verdict on the side of the district attorney having that, your husband having worked here? Do not. You indicated that you know some defense attorneys, but when you knew them, originally you knew them as prosecutors. You knew people like me and Mr. Lumpkin who had a career and then became defense attorneys, right?
They left the DA's office and opened
Left the DA's office. Okay. And you liked them. You liked these folks when they were prosecutors. They were friendly.
And that's correct. And we had kids that played soccer and baseball together.
You still like them now. They didn't turn into bad folk just because they became defense attorneys.
No.
I was holding my breath. All right.
To me, they were people.
Of course.
I didn't deal with them in their job.
Of course.
I dealt with them outside that realm.
All right. Grand jury. Occasionally we get folks who have served on a grand jury. How long ago did you serve in that role?
It's been within the last decade.
Okay.
But it's
I think you said
not
that.
within the last 5 years, but
Okay.
it's before then. I don't remember the date.
And the terms of court here are how many months?
It was a year.
You had to serve a whole
I
year?
had to serve a whole year,
So you met once or twice a month?
once a month.
Okay. And the district attorney would bring a witness in who would tell you a little bit about what the case was about, and then the grand jury would decide whether or not to indict.
Exactly.
Did you ever follow any of the cases that you true billed? Did you ever follow up to see what happened to them?
No. They were mainly drug-related cases.
Okay. And if I've written this down correctly, you never actually made it to a jury box in a pettit jury.
Correct.
Do you know anybody else other than Judge Kelly and the defense attorneys? Do you know anybody else that you think that we should know about that might have any bearing on whether or not you might be an appropriate juror for this case?
No.
Okay. Do you mind me asking the name of the former prosecutors that you know who are now just...
Oh my gosh. Keith Higgins.
Okay.
One. And a couple more. Last name was Perry. Is it John Perry? John. Perry was one.
Okay.
Wexler, Steve Wexler. I think his name is Steve.
All right. Thank you. I believe you two had answered that you had heard PSAs about not fitting your or leaving your animal in a car. Public service announcements.
Commercial.
Commercial. Like on TV?
Right.
Okay. Judge, if I can have just one moment, please.
Indeed.
Our notes indicate generally that you indicated that you knew folks in law enforcement, which is obviously not surprising given your history as well as your husband's. But I guess I should ask more specifically if there is anyone that's serving maybe as a deputy sheriff now or a police officer now here locally that you know.
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Sorry, I didn't say that. I know Neil Shop.
And have y'all, you know him like as a personal friend?
More than my husband knowing him. I mean, I see him out, speak to him and talk to him. He comes to the hospital for business, and I see him there. I mean, we don't go out and socialize or anything. And also, the one sitting in, I can't even remember his name. I know my husband.
The really handsome guy in the back? That one?
Yeah.
Okay. You know him? Mm-hmm. Okay.
name's coming to me right now is not his name, so I don't want to say it. But I do know it.
You understand, we have to follow up with the logical question, which is, knowing these folks that are in law enforcement in the community, is that going to prevent you from being fair and impartial to both sides?
No.
You're not going to feel any pressure to lean toward the district attorney's side?
No. I mean, that's like being a nurse. You can't take partiality. You can't judge people when they come in. You have to learn to be impartial.
I think I know the answer to this, but you consider yourself a details person?
Yes.
And if Mr. Bourne asked you this, and I did not get it written down, I apologize, but what has been the primary focus of your career as a nurse? What area or expertise?
Critical care and nephrology.
Is that kidneys?
Yes.
You're 5. You work as a mechanic right now, correct?
Yes.
How long have you worked in that field?
Probably 14 years now.
So that's got to be your whole adult career, right?
Yes.
Okay. And your wife works in the home, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And before you guys had kids, did she work outside of the home?
She actually worked at a bank.
Okay.
As a teller.
All right. Okay, you've known somebody who's been in the military before?
Yes, I actually was in the Navy. My father was in the Navy and the Air Force. My cousin was in the Army. My uncle was in the Navy. And my grandfather was in the Merchant Marines.
And how long were you in the Navy?
4 years.
And thank you for your service. Is that kind of where you picked up the trade?
Sort of, yes.
Okay. All right. You attend church somewhere locally?
Yes, actually, a Big Harbor Church of God.
Big Harbor. Okay. All right. You're probably kind of in the in-between area of social media and using technology and things like that.
Yes, I do use Facebook.
Okay.
I do use the Messenger, the Facebook Messenger, a lot of times just to keep in touch with family. I do not use Twitter. I have used Craigslist.
Okay.
My wife insists that I have Snapchat, so I do have Snapchat.
Okay, why does she insist that you have Snapchat? She sent me a picture of the kids, the babies?
Exactly.
All right, like, look what the baby's doing today. Yeah, okay. Because I also have a 10-month-old. And so while we've been down here, it is, I've been, yes, I have a lot of videos and stuff. So, not as good as a real thing, but it's
That's
good.
right.
All right. Let me go through some of those other names just so you so make sure if you're familiar or not. YouTube.
Yes, I do.
Okay. And what do you use YouTube for?
Mostly for the how-tos.
Okay. All right. How about Instagram?
I do have it on my phone. That was something my wife insisted upon, but I have yet to open it.
All right.
It's wasted space.
All right. Talked about Twitter. Reddit.
Never heard of it.
Okay. Kick.
Never heard of that one.
Okay. Backpage. Whisper. Okay. Scout, and that's with a K. SKOUT. Okay. And you said Snapchat, so we've got that covered.
Yes.
All right. Legal television shows. Fictional, non-fictional, talking head shows. What do you watch?
Yeah, I always enjoyed like the NCIS, the first 48. I did enjoy it with Judge Joe Brown.
Yeah.
I did enjoy watching that. Back when I was younger, I enjoyed Unsolved Mysteries. Other than that, not a whole lot. There's a lot of Disney Junior. these days.
Want the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse?
Right.
All right. Now you're all going to be singing that song if you know it when you leave here. This is terrible. Okay. So aside from that, I believe you've known somebody who's been arrested before.
Yes.
Okay. Tell me about that.
Yes. Actually, my oldest stepbrother was arrested for DUI recently. And my father was actually arrested. I guess it was a domestic dispute. He actually hit my stepmother.
Okay.
He was arrested for that.
Okay. Your oldest stepbrother, do you even know enough about that situation to have an opinion as to whether he was treated fairly or not?
No.
Okay. And your father, was this something that happened when you were a child?
Yes, this was. I have to say I was maybe 11 or 12.
Okay. And
20 to 21 years ago.
Okay. And was this something, does it happen here in Glenn County?
Yes, it did.
Okay. And do you believe it was the issue was handled appropriately, or he was treated fairly?
Yes.
All right. I believe you've given a statement to the police before. Was it something in regard to that, or something different?
No, it was not.
Okay.
Actually, when my wife and I brought her home, it was broken into. So we actually had to give a statement on that.
And did they ever catch people who had broken in or were recovering the property?
They suspected, but never got a confession, so no.
Okay. Okay. Unfortunately, I think you've known somebody who's had to deal with the death, the sudden passing of a child.
Yes, actually, when I was 6 years old, myself, my real brother, mother, and two cousins were in a car accident, and both my mother and 3-year-old brother died.
I'm very sorry to hear that. All right. Online dating. You know somebody who's dating online?
Actually, my aunt that lives in Lake City, Florida, she actually met her husband probably 15 to 20 years now online.
Okay. So it's probably like the first message ever sent was between the...
She was in Lake City at the time,
Right.
and I guess he was in Virginia.
Right. Okay. I guess the internet's been around longer than that. It just seems to
Well,
me.
I say it's been that long. It feels like it's been that long.
Yeah. Okay. All right. And obviously, you've transported children in a car seat, or you do currently. And you have 2 children?
3.
3. Okay. The youngest is really young, right?
9 months.
Okay.
My youngest is a 9-month-old girl, 3-year-old son, and a 10-year-old daughter.
And well, the 10-year-old, she's already out of booster seat, right?
Yes.
Okay. So when you ride in the car, what kind of car do you drive when you transport?
I actually drive a 4-door Silverado, and
Okay.
my wife has a Kia Sorento.
And with with your car, where are the car seats situated?
It's not the full 4-door, so we have to kind of make do, but my youngest child is in the center.
Okay.
And then my boy is on the right-hand side behind the passenger seat.
Okay. So the boy is forward-facing, I assume.
Exactly.
And then the 9-month-old is rear-facing.
Sitting in the center, right?
In the center, kind of right there beside you.
That's right. No, I'm sorry, no, in the back.
Well, not right beside you, but right there. Okay. The Silverado's a pretty big truck.
Yes.
All right. Now the Kia, where do you have the car seats in? The Kia is kind of a smaller, like SUV, right?
It's actually set up the same way.
Okay.
It does have the third row, but it's not used for the children.
Mm-hmm.
So it's set up the same way as my truck. The youngest daughter's in the middle, and my son's on the right-hand side.
And in the Sorento, is that a smaller car, a smaller
It's a
SUV?
smaller SUV, yes.
Okay.
The third row is, I wouldn't call it third row.
Right. They put it in there to sell cars, but no human beings are probably going to get back there. Unless you're like a teenager and you're piling people in the car or something.
Car seat would never fit back there.
Yes, sir. Okay. And I think you said you've heard commercials or something about pets and don't leave your pet
I
in the
have seen
car.
commercials of the pets being in the vehicles, yes.
All right. I don't really have much else to do. I assume with 3 kids and having kids that young, you don't have hardly any free time. If hypothetically one day you were given free time, what would you want to do?
Well, actually, my kids are always involved. I'm very outdoorsy.
Yes, sir.
I've gotten my boy involved in hunting this year. My 10-year-old enjoys to hunt.
Yes, sir.
We enjoy the beach. And I do enjoy working out. So.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, I think we're in the home stretch of the afternoon, I think. A couple of things to follow up. First thing that I want to ask you about is the hunting. That's something that's your hobby, something you do in your free time that you enjoy, but you want to teach it to your children.
Yes.
All right. Do you have to have a license for that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, they do have a hunter's certification course. I myself, I don't have a lifetime license, so I do buy mine yearly.
All right. Do you have to take any sort of safety course?
Yes, that is part of the certification.
And in taking your 10-year-old, do you take your 10-year-old hunting?
I have, yes.
Okay. You don't take your 3-year-old with you?
I've actually just started to take it this year. We actually went bow hunting last weekend.
Bow hunting. Okay. And do you incorporate lessons on safety with your children?
Yes, absolutely.
Do you have a certain protocol that you follow each and every time to make sure that the weapons are safe and used properly?
Absolutely.
Okay. And is that part of what you're teaching your children?
Absolutely. My youngest boy, I have not gotten into gun control quite yet. His portion of getting into hunting is more or less learning how to be quiet, how to work your best, and how to just be safe. The biggest part being quiet.
Right.
My 10-year-old, she has a lot more knowledge. She knows the gun safety as far as not chambering, a bullet to in your position, ready to go. Safety stays on. She knows to wear her vest, things of that sort.
So when you take the kids, does your wife go as well, or are you just transporting the children?
My wife in no way, shape, or form likes to go.
She's not going to go. Okay. All right. So at any given time where you're doing this activity with the kids, you may have I guess one car seat in your truck for the 3-year-old.
Yes.
Your 10-year-old would need a car seat. I assume that because your wife is not working at this time, she is the one primarily responsible for transporting the kids.
Yes, that's correct.
Does she have 2 car seats in her car now?
Yes.
Okay. And sure, they're both in the back seat.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. And if you mentioned this, I did not get it. In her car, is there one on either side?
No, they're actually, the youngest, the 9-month-old, is actually in the center.
Okay.
And then my 3-year-old son, he is actually on the right side, behind the
Passenger side.
Yes.
Okay. So the 3-month-old would be in a rear-facing.
Right, directly in the center.
Or the 9-month-old would be in a rear-facing.
Right.
And the 3-year-old would be in a forward-facing now.
Right.
On the behind the passenger. Okay. And y'all leave those seats in her car at all times?
Yes, they stay in her car, and I actually have my own that stay in my car.
Okay.
In my truck. Does
your schedule allow for opportunity for you to help out with the kids from time to time to give her a break?
As far as after work, yes. Before work, absolutely not. I usually leave for work at 5 o'clock. I work in Jacksonville. So.
Oh, okay. So she basically has to take them everywhere if she's going to go get groceries or get gas or dry cleaning or whatever.
Usually I do my best to fill the car up for her.
Okay.
And we typically go to the grocery store together.
Okay.
So, but yes, any other errands that she does do, yes, she usually has 2 if not all 3 of them.
All right. Does the Church of God have any sort of Mother's Day Out program?
I do believe they have things occasionally. I don't believe she's ever taken advantage of anything.
Okay.
And actually, if I could, I need to make a correction, and I do apologize. When I was asked about the military, how many years, it was actually 2 years, not 4. I believe you asked that maintenance already.
Are you a details-oriented person?
Yes, sir.
Does that come in part from spending a couple years in the military?
I believe it has to do with the military, possibly with my family, the way we've been oriented. And I pay attention to detail a lot because of my job. A lot of times we repair large pieces of equipment, and it has to be done in certain ways, and it has to be done correctly. There's not really a whole lot of room for error. I think that's also kind of something that's molded me as well.
My understanding is most, you probably got a ton of tools, right?
Yes.
Okay. Do you, when you're working on equipment, or do you download diagrams and specs and so forth from the internet, or do you use manuals and books?
Generally, we have manuals that we use. Typically, we do not use the internet much at work and things of that sort. Basically, every piece of equipment that we have to work on, we have a manual for everything. So anything I need to find, obviously, no one person's going to know everything. I won't even claim that I do, but I know where to find the information if I need it.
And it's not like baking a cake where you can maybe put a little more or a little less in doing what you do.
That's right.
It has to be exact.
That's right.
There is no room for error.
That's right. Correct.
Okay. I think there's something that, we have to talk to you about. Think about one other thing in private. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'll recess for the day. We'll resume at 9 o'clock in the morning. Come back to the jury assembly room at that time. In the meantime, keep an open mind and don't discuss the matter with each other or anyone else. And no contact with each other.